Good afternoon. Hello, everybody. Welcome to day 7. If you are catching me on the replay, hello, replay people. I know that my friend Gaz is streaming and making a really cool looking shadow box. So, FYI on that. I thought that since we were at the halfway point, we could recap a couple of the projects to date. And I found all of my dies except the first day. So, I think that one's probably hiding with wherever all the bags are. So I will endeavor to find that. But Linux is here too. This is the ornament now that the frostbite astro paste dried, and you can see how shiny that is now that it's fully dried. There's not a lot of actual, like there's glitter in it, but it's not very noticeable because it's translucent. Anyway, that was yesterday's. And then this was the one we made with the bows and the small teardrop and a really nice embossed panel. And this is the large teardrop ornament. And what did we cover? The icicle, the large teardrop, the small teardrop. With the original circle, we made a just a honeycomb ornament, which is this one. I think that's everything. So we had, so day 1 was the circle. Day 2 was the small teardrop. Day 3, I believe, was the bows. Then we had the large teardrop, the tree, and the icicle. Oh, I didn't show you the tree. There's a Christmas tree we played with as well. So anyway, I don't actually know what day 7 is, and it may or may not be in here because these shifted a lot during transport. So we will see. I feel something. I feel a lot of things. So there's a snowman. Let's see if we can't sort this out. This is, I guess we'll have to open this up like we did the other one, and in a very unceremonious way for such a pretty advent calendar. But I will, a die just fell out. I will see if we can sort this out, and we will just have to guess for today, I think. We have a something, a tag that says joy, but let's see if we can't get these. Wow, these are really not. I'll keep this off screen just so this isn't like the most spoilery of spoileriness, and I'll see if I can't sort these out. That does not fit in here. It does fit in here. We have a. I know it's in day 12. I guess this must be today. That would go with today. And that fits in there. And this doesn't really fit. Huh. Okay, this doesn't really fit in any of them. So that's interesting. That's weird. Okay. I'm pretty sure I know what day 12 is because Sabrina mentioned it in swapping it. A lot of these things don't really quite fit where I would expect them to. So this will be interesting. And this goes in here. Then this probably is there. And this goes with that. This goes with that. And there's a lot of little pieces. I'm not sure what they go with. We'll just assume all the little pieces go in there. I think that's it. Oh no. There's more dies that are hidden. It's like the calendar that just keeps on giving when it comes to the dies. Oh, that goes in. I think it's that one. I don't know. We'll figure it out eventually once we hear from Sabrina. But I think what we have for today is our snowman. And we have some little additional snowflakes. So we have that. Let me try to put this back in so that hopefully next time we will figure it out. But I'm going to guess that we have the snowman today. Whoop, sorry about that. Oh, hey, Cordelia. How are you? Hey, Jenna. Yay. How fun. And Lennox is here. I don't know, Cordelia. I think that today is the snowman, and I want to do. I've gotten some new glitter paper, so what I want to do is one of those 5-way, like the 5 facet ornaments. I think, and I'm not really in a hurry today because I don't think anything's happening. So I'm just gonna grab. This is a fairly heavy cardstock, and cut this in half. And we might actually be getting what's in day to day wrong because my dies were just all over the place. So. Let me see how many of these. I'm going to cut 5 of these, and then we're going to discuss paper quickly. It would help if I had my die thingy. But I got this really cool. I have silver, light silver, and like champagne sparkly paper. I mean, not sparkly, but like shimmer paper. So if you guys have a thought on, and I can show you what these look like, but we have like a true silver, a light silver, which is more of an off-white, and then we have more of a champagne. I'm kind of leaning towards champagne, which looks like this. It's a very light gold. This may or may not. Oh, this is reading okay on camera. So I'm kind of leaning towards that to do a little more contrast, but I'm also thinking like if we did like something that's more white adjacent, it would give you like a nice tone on tone look. We got 3 out of one of these. Sir, if you simmer, your tail would not be. Oh, I need to cut this down a little bit. But this was half a sheet, so I don't know. It's fairly efficient. There we are. Sup? Oh, hey, guys. How are you? I loved your shadow box. I was so excited by the shadow box. I went and bought a shadow box die off scrapbook.com. And did we have any thoughts on... Oh, did you? How fabulous. No, I'm back. Do we have preferences on colors for our not white layer? I can offer you... So I have true white shimmer, which would be very tone on tone. I have this gold, and let me grab them. I got more. But in my defense, it's not my fault that I got more. They were on sale. Well, I had a Michael's voucher thingy. So then we have a lighter version of this gold. And then this is the silver adjacent. It's almost more of like a cream. So those are our options. So we have 4 shimmers. Oh, I do have holographic, actually. I have holographic foil paper. That might be fun. Okay, let's try that. I can be convinced that holographic might be a fun option. I might be convinced of holographic glitter paper. That's silver. I know I have holographic, though. There we go. Do I have 7 kinds of foil cardstock now? Maybe, but this is the holographic, so I think this would be very sparkly. I'm going to try and take a little pressure off my machine, though, to see if I can reduce how much it was curling, because that was kind of a pain in the butt yesterday. But we will swap out. This is our detail layer. It has a lot of bits, so here's hoping it cuts out cleanly. Although, obviously we could just do a secondary, not blingy layer. Hey, Dawn, I haven't seen you in forever, except I saw you live this morning with tea. I hope you're well. I'll be back in a second. We will cut this out, and then we can discuss. Someone last time had mentioned that, like, the actual cutting of the layer was unnecessary, so we may try that. Anyway. Because what you can do is, not with this one, obviously, but if you want the score line to be open, you can do that. Let me cut this and we'll be back. Yeah, because I was going to say, Cordelia, I don't recall seeing a video this morning from you. Except I might have messed this one up. Oh, well. This one I miscut. Okay, you might be able to just separate it because I think it's mostly cut. Nope. I messed it up. Okay, let's try to get our extraneous bits out, and we can do this again. Maybe I can just inset it. Let's try that. I might be able to just set it back in where I had it and see if this works. 1 second. I think I had it too off the edge. You know what I mean? Oops. No, I definitely need to do that differently. Well, I cut off his head. That's no fun. Headless snowman. You accidentally rip his head off. His head off. He looks kind of like. I'm sure there'll be a lovely cat toy. Okay, this came out fine this time. At least I think so. No, it didn't. Huh, that's weird. Okay. Let me clean this out a little bit. Because I didn't clean it out in between and see if we can't figure this out. Probably just me being lazy. Or in a rush, whichever. I don't know why we're in a rush. It's a Friday and we don't have anywhere to be, but there we go. That's better. And we have a lot of like holographic confetti all of a sudden. And a cat. Well, two cats. Let's see if third time works better. We shall see, though. Okay, well, that definitely cut. There we go. So I think we figured out our pressure. So that is fantastic. So let us see what this guy looks like. He has two little well, he basically weeded out entirely. So he'll go. I think this will look real okay. Good call. Whoever suggested holographic, I like your idea. This looks really fun. And I think we can just glue them flat and then fold them. I don't think we need to cut these in half because they're fairly fine. But that looks really cool. Hey Scott, how are you? We were playing with snowmen. Lennox is here too. I will actually probably keep these to the side since he thought that they were cat toys last time around. But I think we just need to get the pieces out of here and then just cut this a few more times. Yeah, and that worked pretty well. I think you can actually use these tools on this while the die is still down too. But that all came out, so that's good. I think the Christmas tree was the only one that was kind of difficult to clean, but I may not have been quite aggressive enough with that. Anyway, we have our. Probably cut this in half and then get two out of each side. And we'll have our 5 that we need. Yeah, I think that'll work. And we figured out our pressure on our machine, so that means we should be more successful this time. And Sabrina actually released new stuff today. And it reminded me actually, I don't know, depending on how long you've been around the channel, last winter we did a really interesting 3-pocket folio that basically was like, like a folder essentially. Just, ooh, I like that this, I like that you don't have to weed this. Look how pretty. Came out perfect. Happy. Anyway, so if you remember those, the new collection she released is basically a folio that has a pop-up in the middle, which I don't think I've seen before. I mean, I'm sure somebody has done it because I don't know. There really aren't that many new ideas in the world, certainly. There's one little bit there. There we go. But it's kind of neat. The only thing that wasn't neat was she was explaining it. She was doing a sneak peek on one of her lives and was saying that like if you fully decorate everything, it takes quite a while to do. So I don't know. I'm intrigued by it from a could you come up with a version of it that was more of a quick and easy kind of thing. Although some of these Christmas ornaments, I don't mind the fact that they're slightly fussy. So now we only have 3 more of these to do. But I like that the weeding of this snowman is easy. Let me see what I am missing in chat. Probably something, because I usually do when I get into die cutting. I do always have a cat helper. Some of the other crafters we know and love also have cat helpers, but a lot of the cat helpers are banned from the craft room. Just because like sometimes having a cat helper isn't overly helpful. But they are always, I think cat helpers are fun. And the good thing is using a foil paper here, the foil really helps the paper stay together. So we haven't had any like ripping issues on exit with this. We didn't actually with any of the dies to date, but sometimes the detail, like the more detailed the die is, the more it's a little tricky to get things out the first time. There is that. Now, if you were a better person than me, you could actually paper piece one of these all the way back together. Um, I have not attempted to do that and probably won't because it's a little fussy for my personal taste, but you could. What do we have? We have one piece that's a little stuck in there. I don't know. It came out. Okay. I think that's fine. And then here's our last piece. And I found doing 2 passes on this really helps. I think if you had at one of those fancy power machines, that would be less of an issue. There we go. And these, because I don't know why, but like the tree is the only one that bent. Like these aren't bending at all, which is going to be great when we go to try and put them back together. Like ASMR crafting with the like thingy that gets the die bits out. I don't know what this tool is actually called. I don't think it was designed for paper crafting. I think it's one of those like it's probably like a sewing thing or something where, it's a tool that works really well for a lot of things. But if you are basically just cutting this as a honeycomb ornament, there's a lot less of this type of thing to deal with. One little piece stuck in there still. There we go. Like we're making our own confetti. Okay, that'll fit. Barely. But I think it will be easier to glue all these down flat and then figure them out. Okay. We don't need that piece anymore. We'll need to figure out. Oh, that's where I put my twine. You say we'll need to figure out where I put my twine because we'll probably need that because I think that the silver and white twine would be look really good with this. There we go. So we have our 5. And while we're here, I will clean this out. But let me know, Cordelia, how did you enjoy making your first 3D ornament? Because I find this not necessarily the die cutting the finer layers, but like actually making the ornament, I just find really relaxing. There we go. That all came out. We probably don't need to die cut anything. Unless we want to do a fancy hook, but I think I think we can just do twine and then just sort of glue it in, basically. And we can just start, figure out grab a couple of these guys. Just going to dilute down my glue. It has a tendency to sort of thicken up during the week, basically, just because I don't use it a ton. So I just keep a little bottle of distilled water around for that. I don't want to mess with the glue itself. The PVA glue is water based, so as long as you don't have bacteria growing in it, it should be fine. At least I've never had any issues. I'm sure somebody sells a product specifically designed to do this. The other thing you can do is use your you could decant it back into a big bottle if you wanted to. But what I'm going to do is not do 2 of these at once, but Just going to put a little glue on the outside. And someone had a really good idea in the Sassy or the Scrappy Tales chat, which was that one thing you could do. Don't eat my pokey tool, thank you. Is you could actually run these through. You could put an adhesive sheet on the back of these before you die cut them, or you could run them through one of those Xyron sticker makers if you wanted to basically make sure that you had really good adherence or adhesion with your glue. And I have a bunch of those adhesive sheets and never really use them. I'm going to go and do my usual technique of making sure we get any glue off the glittery parts. Because this glitter paper or this paper is coated in foil, I don't really have to worry about messing up what is underneath it. And that way, should be good to go. So I'm just going to set this to the side, and then we are going to, once this fully dries, we're going to just repeat fold it down the score line, and go from there. Oh, I have not been scrolling. Let us scroll and see what magical things folks are chatting about. Right now, I'm attempting my first honeycomb. There's some good tutorials on the internet. Obviously, the honeycomb idea is not new. Really, the only thing I found is like trying them. I know that's unhelpful, but like I do find that like the more I've tried them, the more I've enjoyed it. It's just a really kind of chill sort of crafting, just because there's not a ton of you're basically just repeating the same pattern 30 times. And this is gluing down much faster today, just because we are working on standard white cardstock underneath, so the glue is adhering really quickly. And while the glue is still sticky, it's pretty easy to do this sort of making sure it's not on the edge, the pretty side thing. This particular, really, it's only been the tree so far that have had like edges that'll snag because of how the tree is very swirly in its pattern. So that one works pretty nicely. I think also for whatever reason I curled the tree a bit. Oh, sorry about that. There we go. So the flatter that your like decorative die cut is, I think the easier it is to glue down. I don't know if you're still here, Gaz, but I'm curious. What do you do with your shadow boxes? Like, do you give them as gifts by themselves, or are they like essentially like a card? Dot dot dot. Just a little bit. But I thought, I mean, basically, this meant the way that I'm putting these together with the glue, like, is going to always be kind of messy. So I did like the idea of the Xyron, like, if you're just a person who's sort of opposed to being a messy crafter. Because I know that there are folks like that who just don't like, getting in all the pastes and whatnot. But I do like the holographic. The holographic looks very icy somehow. You can see like as that dries, it'll go back to the color it's supposed to be. Sir, could you scooch? Ah! Oh no, camera down. There you go. Goodness. He is quite a bean today. Anyway, just 2 more of these to do. But I'm happy. This is one of the. I didn't work much last weekend, but it's a weekend I don't have to work. So I haven't decided what I'm doing this weekend other than more Advent stuff. But we will see. I feel like I want to get into like some kind of holiday fair project and do some kind of mass make because that's always fun. I do have some new the Ninja Bread Man stamps from Pink and Main I picked up. So sorry, Trinity. Too many companies. I did pick up Christmas cookie stamps from Pink and Main too, I think. But I have some new Christmas stuff that would be fun to play with, including some of the retro Christmas stuff from Scrappy Tales, which I picked up and have not done much with. Oh, now he's going to settle down. And we can go back to being, level and, correct. It is. The thing that's really interesting to me about this calendar is if you think about most of the holiday releases from Scrappy Tales, they were all basically like one base die, and then they just made variants on one thing. Actually, these would be really cute. Like you could string, well, not with a cat hair, but you could string a bunch of these together too and make a neat like little garland. Anyway, sorry, squirrel moment, but the previous releases like the lantern and there are a few other and the snow globe spinner thingy they did. They were all basically like one base, and then you could make a bunch of like variants. And these are all basically their own individual pieces. And I think you could use pretty much all of them. They're, with the exception of the icicle to date, all the ones we've seen are sized where you could use them as a focal image on an A2 card, depending on how big you wanted your card to be. The that large teardrop ornament was with a took up basically the whole front, so that might be a little on the larger side for an A2. And they certainly work on 5x7 cards really nicely. There we go. There's that. There we are. I think we are good. I'm going to go back to the beginning of my stack, and we're just going to reinforce our score line a little bit. And the fact that this is glued down makes it a lot easier, but you could, if you wanted to, we kind of lost our score line on the back. No, it's still here. You can, I'm just eyeballing this, but if you wanted to do it more particularly, you certainly can. Since we only need these to be at about a 20-degree angle like this should be fine for putting our ornament together. But if you do decide to cut the front piece in half, like we did with the teardrop ornament, that tends to make it easier to do this. You can also, I think, if you reinforce the score line on the back a little bit more than I did, that would have helped too. But this is fine. We are making an ornament, so it is not, as you can see. These will go together like this with two others. Well, this will go together more like a little less than that, but we will eventually get a little star in the top. So I'm just going to do that. Now this one, I think some of these we reinforce the score line, but the glue kind of makes the paper a little wet, which made it a little less obvious. And if you do, actually, I can show you this. So you can just do this too if you want. Like because these fold exactly in half, you don't need to be super fancy with it. So then we have our little score line. Oops, there we go. You can see the foil paper will crack a little bit if you fold it entirely over. So, I mean, that's an option as well. Just see. So I'm being a little delicate with it because I would rather it not crack in the middle. There we are. Let me just have one more. And this one, I think, is the one we reinforced because you can see the score line here much more clearly. And that does help us at least visually understand where we want our fold to be. So I would say if you burnish the score line on the back, it's going to make your life a little bit easier. But you don't need to do it on the front. And I don't think you need to cut this in half. Probably glue these together. You can see on this ornament, whoop, if I don't knock the cat in the nose, like we actually cut these and then reattach them. But on this one, not this one, this one we didn't cut them. So they're kind of a pro and con. Like if you cut them, the score line is going to be somewhat easier to deal with. But if you cut them, then lining up the two different sides can be a little bit of a pain. Okay, so let me see. Nothing too. Oh, hey Daisy May, how are you? Welcome. The cat just knocked over the glue. So here are 5, and we're just going to do the same thing we did with the teardrop, and we're basically going to put glue on the 2 white sides and then glue these together like this. And when we get all of them together, then we're going to put a lot of glue in the middle and work on a string. So I'm just going to put glue all over it because I definitely want this to stick permanently. And because there's a lot of white in this, like seeing the edge here doesn't matter too much, at least to me. On the teardrop, it looks a little weird because because the glitter paper is white on the back, so you do see these white bits every so often. So if I did the teardrop again, I would probably ink the edges. But if you have a lot, if whatever the back side of your paper is a color that's in your ornament already, it probably doesn't matter as much. So, and really, you could stop at any point, and you could do 3 of these probably, and then just use this just as like a focal point on a card. And I haven't done that yet, but you can certainly do that at some point in the future. And I haven't found you needed to clip these at all, but if you wanted to, you certainly could. We could break out either like a little mini chip clip, or you could also use just a little mini clothespin. So now we have 3 of our layers together. And what you could do at this point, if you wanted to, is like if you wanted to use this on a card, you could just use this as a focal point like this. Or, of course, use the snowman flat. Let me not make sure that my snowman is glued all the way. But there we go. And you can also, if you get to a point where it's being difficult, you can also just sort of take a break and wait for the glue to dry, because time will basically make the glue more stable. I don't think it's going to be a big deal for us, but the Astro Bright paper is basically easier to work with than the like cardstock because it's thinner, so it holds a fold really easily without having to burnish. You can see we almost have this together, and then we're just going to put the last piece in here. And if we want, I guess this is now when we can work deal with our string. And I think we would use silver in this case. And I found my good scissors, so that's pretty cool. I'm just going to get some amount of this and then knot it, because I think I'm just going to cut it off at the bottom. You could do fancy bead stuff that I haven't figured out how to use a bead stringer yet. But basically, the other option is we can just not tie this and get it some degree, and then basically figure out where we want our, like, let's say we want this much, we can just leave these two strings at the end, and then we can either we could just cut them off and then pull it slightly up and they will stay there. So I think that will work. I kind of like this length. Sorry, you probably can't see that. So what I'm going to do is pinch this to sort of open up all these folds. And what we want to do is just get a whole bunch of glue in here. Just so that it helps the string glue and the whole ornament glue together. So we will just do that to here. And then we are going to, I will cut that at the last minute, but let's get our last piece in here as well. I'm going to use glue on both sides for this last one, where we were just doing one side for our other ones. And we just basically want to, there's a cat under the desk who is vacuuming with his tail for some reason. Anyway, we basically just want to get this together. And ideally, if you don't have gluey fingers, this works better. But let me just cut this a little bit off here. I'll just pull this up a little bit, and then we're just going to just sort of pinch this together and make sure that it adheres. That's not going to be too much work, although we're going to probably not want to futz with it too much while we let it dry. And if some glue squeezes out the bottom, that's okay. We can always fix that later. So, and we will just hold this a little bit. This is, speaking of clips, so if you have some of these little scrapbooking clips, they aren't probably called that, but you know, like these little mini clothespins, you can also use a mini clothespin. Oop, that is the inside of here, but you could use a mini clothespin if you want it. What you can do is just, use it like this, because you get the mini clothespins, you can really get in with the tip really nicely. And you can use that and a combination of your fingers just to hold this shut until it glues. Oh, is ECR live right now? So then I will just move this over and just hold it like that, and it pops off. But I think we are good. What you can also do is if you have an area where it's being a little difficult like this, you can just clip it like that, and that will help it. At the top, we are pretty good. Although our cat is here to investigate. So if you were working, that kind of open, that side, sometimes these sides will open up too. Again, it's just because the glue is still in the process of drying. But we are pretty much good with this guy. I'm not really going to pull on the string right now because it's still probably in the process of drying. But we can look at this next time around. And this would also be a good time if you still have your... Now this one, so this got a little... See if we can't open this up. This got a little out of whack while we were messing with it. I think this is glue. Let me see if I can open this up. You can sometimes open these up with a pokey tool. There we go. But you want to be really careful with stuff like the brim of the hat, or we're going to mangle it. As you can see, we did mangle it, but what I'm going to do is put some more glue in, and no one will have to know that we mangled it a little bit. So we will just redo that. Also, this is sort of the time when it's easy to do things you don't mean to. So sometimes you're better off at some point just like leaving it alone and then coming back and fixing it later. I do have a little snaggly bit here. The rest of these look fine. So I have this little snaggly bit here. So I'm just going to go in with my scissors and just nip that off. There we go. And we are back to what we wanted. And we have our holographic snowman. If I see any weird like glue spots, I'm going to get them off. If I don't see any weird glue spots, I'm going to leave it alone. And I'm just going to, I would probably, if you do the glue trick with the string, I would probably leave this alone for like at least an hour for it to fully dry. Although you can, at this point, you don't really have to do too much. And if you do wind up like, if the seams open up anywhere, you can just come back in with a little more glue at the edge and glue it back together. Basically, while the glue is still a little bit pliable, it's pretty easy for these to open up. But you can always come back after the fact and glue it. You're far better off letting the actual, like, the bulk of the ornament sort of stabilize and then worry about a lot of that stuff later on. But anyway, this is the fancy snowman ornament we made. It is, at least in terms of its design, just like this one. I think the holographic in white is a really nice look. So thank you for the suggestion, as always. We will. Woo! Today is Friday. So tomorrow I will be live probably around 11 a.m. because that's when I was live last Saturday. So Saturday and Sunday will be more morning streams, but feel free to drop by or watch them on the replay or whatnot. Lennox is still here and says he hopes you have a lovely rest of your day. If you are watching Craft Roulette this evening, I hope you enjoy that. I will likely be looking at, sorry, Lennox must have bumped my mic. I'll be there's this 2 Scrappy Tales things. There's a stream at 6 p.m. Central, and then there's a premiere of the whole new launch after that. Or I should say the showcase videos that usually go up. So I'll probably be checking those out and then check out Craft Roulette on the replay. And we may or may not do Craft Roulette as our Sunday project, because I haven't done one in a while and they're really fun. But I really like this snowman. He's really fun. And I have glue on my hand, so I will attend to that at some point. But it was great chatting with you guys. Oh, football. How fun. Is it really football season? Well, I guess it is. Like, it feels like too far into fall for football to me, but I guess not. Oh, and Delise will be live at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. my time. I don't know if ECR's on Twitter. Twitter, yeah. ECR may be on Twitch because she was going to go live on Twitch after Craft Roulette, so she might be around as well. But we'll see. I don't follow Twitch streamers very much, so because I'm more of a YouTube person. But in any event, it's always nice to support your friends. But that is what I have for you today. So until we chat again, I hope you have a wonderful beginning or middle part of your weekend. If I can figure out where my mouse is. Oh, there's my mouse. Anyway, great chatting with you guys. I will see you later and have a great one.